£450. That's a sliding door motor, one side, fitted. It's the one bill these cars hand you that a normal car doesn't, and I'm telling you about it before I've told you a single good thing, because everybody else selling you a car leaves that bit out. Here's the thing though, I'd pay it, every time, and by the end you'll know exactly why. Because here's what nobody says out loud. The car you stop using isn't the one that breaks down. It's the one that's become a job to get out of. You brace on the door frame, you drop the last few inches, you do the little shuffle at the shops hoping nobody's watching, and one day, you just don't bother going. That's not a car problem. That's your independence, and somebody sold it away from you with a brochure photo of a mountain. 5 of them today. All on sale in Britain, all cheap, and everyone easier to get in and out of than any SUV on the road. And number 1 is the same car as one of the most respected people carriers in this country. Same factory, same doors, same engine, with a different badge on the front and about £1,000 off the price. I'm Gary, I don't sell cars. No manufacturer pays me a penny. I've got no badge loyalty and nobody's buying me lunch to say nice things about anybody. Number 5, the Vauxhall Meriva, and specifically the second one, the shape from about 2010 onwards. Because Vauxhall did something on that car that nobody else has done since and then never really told anybody about it. The back doors are hinged at the back. They open backwards, away from the front doors. Vauxhall called them flex doors. Now why does a mechanic care about a door hinge? Stand next to one with both doors open and you'll see it. There's no pillar in the middle. The whole side of the car is one enormous hole. So instead of squeezing yourself round a door edge into a gap, you turn, sit down on the seat facing outwards, and swing your legs in. Same as sitting on the edge of a bed. If you've had a hip done, that's not a convenience. That's the whole thing. And the seat height is about right for most adults. I'll come back to what right actually means, because there's a lot of rubbish talked about that. The honest bit, because it's not perfect. The engine range on these needs care, and I want you buying by engine, not by badge. The 1.4 turbo petrol runs a chain, and on that family of engines, the chain and the tensioner are the known weak spot. So do this. Turn up in the morning, before they've had a chance to warm it up, and listen to it start from stone cold. If you get a rattle like a bag of spanners for a second or two before it clears, walk away. That noise is not they all do that. That noise is the tensioner. Second thing, rust round the rear arches and the sills on the older ones. Fingers behind the arch lip, thumb on the sill. If it's soft, that's an MOT problem, not a paint problem. Third, it's small. 5 seats, not 7, and the boot's modest with the seats up. If you need to get a wheelchair in the back, this isn't your car, and I'll give you one that is. But for a couple, for one person, for somebody who wants a car, they can actually get out of and park outside a normal terraced house? £2,000, sometimes less. And here's a thing about the whole class that nobody says. These are cheap to insure, not a bit cheaper. Properly cheaper. Insurers price on what a car costs to repair and who tends to crash it, and a 5-year-old people carrier with a small engine ticks every box they like. A tall SUV with big alloys and a bumper full of radar sensors does not. Get a quote on both before you decide anything, because on a fixed income that annual number matters more than the price on the windscreen. Verdict: the widest door opening on any small car in Britain, hiding on a badge nobody looks at twice. Listen to it cold and check the sills. And everything here comes off DVSA recall data, MOT records, and the manufacturer's own published specifications for the British market. Not an American list with pound signs stuck on it. Right. Before the next one, hit subscribe. It's free, and it's the sort of thing that stops a mate signing for something daft on a Saturday morning. And one of the ones coming up has an engine where the cam belt runs inside the sump, in the oil. When that belt goes, it doesn't just snap. The bits it sheds block the oil pickup and take the engine with it. It's a car I'm recommending, and I'll tell you exactly which engine to avoid so it never happens to you. That's number 4. Number 4. And this is the one more of you have asked me about than anything else. The Ford Grand C-Max. The Grand, not the ordinary C-Max. The Grand is the longer one, and it's the one with sliding rear doors. Here's what a sliding door actually does for you. And it's two things, not one. First, it opens with no swing, so you can park in a normal supermarket bay, right next to somebody, and still get out. No more that awful moment where you've clipped the car beside you and you're standing there wondering whether to leave a note. Second, when it's open, the opening is square. No door edge to duck under and no hinge in your way. You get in the way you'd walk through a doorway. It's also got 7 seats in a car that's the size of a Focus, so it goes down a normal street and fits in a normal garage. Now, the engines, and pay attention because this is where the money is. The one to avoid is the 1-litre EcoBoost. Lovely little engine to drive. But it runs its Campbell inside the engine, in the oil. The wet belt I mentioned a minute ago, the rubber breaks down over years of sitting in hot oil and sheds into the sump. Those particles get pulled towards the oil pickup, the strainer blocks, oil pressure drops, and the engine's finished. It isn't a bent valve job you can fix, it's an engine. If you're set on one, that belt is a service item on a much shorter interval than you're used to, and it goes by time as well as mileage, which matters enormously on a car that's done 9,000 miles in 6 years, which a lot of these have. Get a dated invoice, not a story. Buy the 1.6 petrol instead and you sidestep the whole conversation. Second warning, and it's a big one. Ford's dual clutch automatic, the power shift, has a poor reputation in this country, and there's been a great deal of documented trouble with it. Symptom is a shudder pulling away from a standstill, like the clutch is slipping and grabbing, and hesitation between the lower gears. If you want an automatic, drive it in traffic before you commit, not just round the block. The concession. Get the right engine and the manual gearbox, and there's not a lot wrong with these. Parts are on every shelf in the country, every independent garage has done hundreds of them, and it drives like a car rather than a van. Verdict: the best driving sliding door MPV in Britain for the money. Buy the petrol, avoid the wet belt, and drive the automatic in traffic before you sign. And number 3 is the car that 90% of Britain's wheelchair accessible vehicles are built on. Not one of them, nearly all of them. There's a reason for that, and it's a reason you can use even if nobody in your house uses a wheelchair. Number 3. The Citroën Berlingo Multi-Space and the Peugeot Partner TP. Same car, 2 badges. Buy whichever's cheaper on the day, because underneath, there's no difference worth paying for. Now here's the thing I want you to know about these, and it's the single most useful fact in this video. Go and look at the wheelchair accessible vehicles in this country. The converted ones, with the ramp at the back, they are overwhelmingly built on this van. Not because it's glamorous, because of the shape. The floor is flat, genuinely flat. No transmission tunnel, no step, no lip in the middle. The roof is tall enough to sit up under. The doors slide on both sides. And the back end is square, so a ramp will actually reach it. Which means even if nobody in your family uses a wheelchair, you're buying the shape the conversion industry chose after looking at everything else on the market. A walking frame rolls in, a shopping trolley's worth of bags goes in without lifting them over a boot lip. 2 people can get in from either side without anybody shuffling across. One more thing in its favour, and it's the sort of thing you only appreciate after you've owned one. You can see out of it. The glass is deep, the windscreen's upright, and the pillars either side of it are thin. Sit in most modern cars and there's a great thick pillar right where you need to look when you're pulling out of a junction. That's crash structure, and it's there for a good reason, but it means you're leaning forward and craning your neck every time. If your neck doesn't turn as far as it used to, a car you can see out of is worth more than any driver aid you can buy. The honest bit. And it's honest because these have real faults. The 1.6 diesel has a documented weakness around the turbocharger. The oil feed pipe to the turbo can silt up if the oil hasn't been changed religiously, and a turbo starved of oil doesn't last long. Symptom is a whine that changes with the revs, or blue smoke on a hard pull. So on these, the service history isn't nice to have. It's the purchase decision. Oil changes on time. with the right specification oil, or walk. The 1.6 petrol of that era runs a chain, and that chain has a reputation too. Same test as before. Cold start, listen, rattle means walk, and they drive like what they are. It's a van with windows. It rolls in corners, the seats are flat, and at 70 on the motorway, it's noisy. If you want to enjoy driving, this is the wrong video, never mind the wrong car. Verdict: the most practical shape sold in Britain at van money. Buy on the service history, not on the mileage. If that flat floor point was useful to you, give the like button a tap. It puts this in front of somebody who's about to be sold a high-sided SUV they'll struggle to get out of. Cold start, bonnet up, stand at the front and listen. 10 seconds. That's how you check number 2. The Mazda 5. Sliding doors both sides, 7 seats, and it's about the size of a Focus. So it does everything the Grand C Max does, but with one significant mechanical advantage. The 1.8 petrol runs a chain. No Campbell at all, no belt bill, no wet belt, no interval to argue about with a garage. That's a genuinely different proposition from most of this class, where you're buying somebody else's belt history and hoping. Concession, and I did tell you to listen at the front. On these, it's the chain tensioner that gives up, not the chain. What the trade sees is a rattle for a couple of seconds on a cold start that clears once oil pressure builds. So, turn up early before the seller's warmed it up, if it's already running when you arrive. That's information in itself. Second concession: rust on the older ones. Arches, sills, and specifically, have a look along the bottom of the sliding door rail, because that channel collects road muck and holds it against the metal. Third, it's not as roomy in the third row as the shape suggests. Those back 2 seats are for children or short journeys, not for 2 adults going to Cornwall. But the middle row is proper, the sliding doors are the real thing, and the driving position is car-like rather than van-like. For most people, that's the sweet spot on this whole list. Verdict: the only chain-driven sliding door MPV here. Turn up cold, listen for 2 seconds, and check the door rail. Number 1. Stick with me because it's the one where you pay less for exactly the same car. Number 1. And first, how to say it, because half the country gets this wrong. It's Seat, the Seat Alhambra. And here's the trick. The Seat Alhambra and the Volkswagen Charon are the same vehicle. Not similar. The same. Same platform, same body, same doors, same engines, built in the same factory in Portugal on the same line, by the same people. The differences are the badge, the grille and some trim. And the Volkswagen costs more, consistently, for the same car. That's the whole reason it's number 1. You're not compromising to save money. You're buying the identical vehicle and letting somebody else pay extra for a badge on the bonnet. Now what you actually get: sliding doors on both sides, electric on most of them, 7 proper seats. And I mean proper. 3 individual chairs across the middle row that each slide and fold independently, not a bench with a pretend split. Fold them all and the floor is flat and enormous, and the load lip at the back is low, which matters far more than people realise when you're lifting shopping or a suitcase every week. Honest bit, and there are 3. 1. The 2-litre diesel is belt driven, and on a car this heavy the belt is not optional and not negotiable. Dated invoice with the mileage on it, or the price comes down by the cost of the job. 2. Diesel plus short journeys is a bad marriage on any modern car, and it's a bad marriage here. The particulate filter needs a proper run to clean itself out. If your driving is 4 miles to the shops and back, get the petrol, or get one of the earlier cars on this list. Don't buy a big diesel and then only do school run distances, because you'll be buying a filter. 3. The DSG dual clutch automatic. When it's serviced on schedule, with the fluid changed, it's fine. When it isn't, the mechatronic unit is not a cheap thing to sort out. Ask for the gearbox service history specifically as a separate question from the engine service history, because a lot of people don't realise it's a thing. And the last honest point, it's the biggest car here. It's a proper full-size people carrier. If you're parking on a Victorian street with cars both sides, Go and try it before you fall in love, because the length is real. Verdict: best built vehicle on this list, at a discount for no reason other than which badge is on the grille. Check the belt, check the gearbox history, and enjoy paying less than the bloke in the Sharon. Right, this is the bit to write down, and most of it has nothing to do with engines. 1. The hip test. Everybody tells older buyers they need a high car or a low car, and they're both wrong. Here's the actual rule. Stand next to the open door. The seat cushion should be at roughly the height of your own hip. If it's above that, you're climbing up. If it's below, you're dropping down. Either one hurts if your knees or hips aren't what they were. That's a personal measurement, yours, not mine, and not your neighbour's. Go and stand next to 3 cars and you'll know within a minute. 2. Grab handles. Go round the car and count them. The one above the door on the inside, the ones on the roof, and the one that matters most, whether there's anything solid at the front to hold when you're getting out. A lot of modern cars have deleted them entirely to save weight. Nobody mentions it in a review and everybody notices it on day one. If you use one, don't buy a car without them. 3. Do it with your own shopping. Take a bag, take the walking frame, take the grandkids' car seat if that's the job. Load it in the boot in the car park, not in your imagination. Check the boot lip height. The lower the lip, the less lifting. And that's a bill you pay in your back rather than in pounds. 4. Belt or chain, and get it in writing. Ask which one the engine has. If it's a belt, you want a dated invoice with the mileage on it, and you want to know whether it's a wet belt. If it's a chain, turn up in the morning and start it stone cold. 5. 2 checks on one registration number. Road tax on gov.uk. Anything registered before April 2017 sits on the old CO2 bans. And on some of these, that's a lot cheaper than the flat standard rate a newer car pays. And the emissions zone checkers for London's ULEZ and the clean air zones in Birmingham, Bristol, Sheffield, Bath, Bradford and the rest. Never assume a car's compliant. Put the plate in. Both are free, both take a minute, and a diesel that's a year the wrong side of the line can cost you more in charges than the car cost to buy. One that nearly made it. The Ford Tourneo Connect and the longer Grand Tourneo Connect. Van-based sliding doors, sensible money, and the load space is enormous. What kept it off the list is that it's the most van-like thing here to drive, and the interior plastics are exactly what you'd expect. But if space is the only thing you care about, and you're on the tightest budget of anybody watching, go and look at one. I'm not going to pretend any of these will impress anyone on your street. They won't. They're square, they're sensible, and half of them started life as a van. But the whole industry has spent 20 years selling height as if height were the same thing as access. And it isn't. Climbing up into something is not easier than sitting down into it. Doors that swing are not easier than doors that slide. And a car you can get out of without thinking about it is a car you'll keep driving for another 10 years. That's the trade. Looks daft on the drive, keeps you going to the shops. I know which one I'd take. So tell me in the comments, what are you driving now? And what's the bit that's actually hard? Getting in, getting out, loading the boot, or seeing out of it. That's genuinely useful, and it decides what I cover next. And if I've got a detail wrong on any of these, say so plainly and I'll correct it in a future video, because I'd rather be corrected than confident. Subscribe if that was useful. There's more of it on the channel every week. Buy with your head, not the badge. This video is based on publicly available recall notices, MOT test data, safety ratings, reliability surveys and independent review evidence current at time of publication. Individual vehicle outcomes vary. Some models may have had subsequent updates, recalls or improvements. Always obtain current information and independent advice before making any purchase decision.